Morning, guys, and welcome to this will be day 7 of our MCA review. Today we're talking about scatter plots and the best fitting line. So first of all, we're going to start with using this graph to figure out what is the rate of change. So what we got to do is look at where on our line we see points that are going through intersections. Now an intersection is where two lines cross. Now these are going to be very close, but we want to try to find the closest ones to an intersection. I think I see one right here, right at the start, and there's one probably right here. So all we're going to do is count this slope because we are trying to find the rate of change. So what that is just slope. So I'm going to count the rise over the run. So if I go up as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then if I go over, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now this is approximating, so this is a best guess. We don't have the 6, 7 in our choices here, but we know that this is going to be really close to 1. So like 3/5 isn't really close to 1. 2/7 isn't close at all. 5/4 is over 1, but 7/8 looks pretty close to 1. So what we are going to do then is just say D is our answer, because it's close to 6/7. Now we could have gone up one more, and then it would have been 7/8. But again, what we're doing is approximating. Next line, what is the equation of the line of best fit? So we have a table with the points, but what those points are telling us is what are those dots on there. What we are trying to find is the where the line is going through an intersection. Now I see one that's pretty positive, or pretty sure it's going through an intersection right there. And the next closest one would probably be right there. So if we count that slope, it's going down, so it's going to be negative. So our M is going to be negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So negative 6/5. Now this is very close to our y-intercept. So this one is where the line crosses our y-axis. Now that's really close, so I'm just going to count that. So I'm going to say B equals a positive 2. So my equation then is going to be y equals negative 6/5 x plus 2. Next one, it says the average height for boys is shown in the table below. And then it says the data listed in the table is plotted below. So they drew us a graph. Which of the following lines fits the data the best? Now, before we even do this, if we even look at what we're looking at, the first thing I'm going to look at is the y-intercept. Now, all of our y-intercepts have 31. And that is exactly where we want them to be. But the first thing I notice here is that the slopes A and C are going negative. We know that this line, if we look from left to right, is going positive. So I know I can cross out A and C right away. Now all we need to do is figure out the slope. We know it starts at 31. So we are going to look for points where it's close to the intersection. So it looks like we could have a point right here. And it looks like we could have another point. It's really close right there. So now when we go up, we need to be careful because it's going up by 5s. So it's going up 5, 10, 15, 20. So it went up by 20, and over, now we have to be careful with this because it's going over by 2's again. So 2, 4, 6, 8. So about 20 over 8. That's going to simplify down to about 10 over 4, or that's even going to simplify further to about 5 over 2. So we need to figure out which one is closest to 5 over 2. Well, what I see that's closest is 13 over 5 because 16 is a little bit farther than 13. Now these aren't going to be perfect because we don't know exactly where these points are crossing. But I'm going to say that D is my answer here because it's the closest to 5 over 2 or 10 over 4 or 20 over 8. Next one says, studies have shown that the more TV a person watches, the less sleep they get. The table below shows the number of hours people watched in one day and the number of hours of sleep they got. The data listed in the table is plotted below. First thing I notice, that line is going down. And it's going to start at a positive 8. So it's going down, so I know it can't be A or B because those are positives. Now, it does start at a positive 8, not a negative 8. So for this one, C is the answer. We didn't even need to do any math for this one. Sometimes it's as easy as that. You got to make sure you're looking at it closely while you're doing these. Next one, use the given line of best fit to approximate the rate of change relative to the scatter plot below. So again, now we need to find our points because we need to find a slope. And all of them are negative, so we need to find a couple points that are going through an intersection. I see one for sure right there. If I look again, I see another one that's very, very close right there. And do I see any other ones? Probably none as close as we have there. So this one is going down 1, 2, 3. And going over 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like my answer there is B, negative 3 over 4. Next one is talking about softball signups. So we basically just have to look at this graph and say, in what year were there about 125 softball players? So 125 is right here. If I go over from 125, I see that that year is about 3. So it says years since 2000. So if this is 3 years since 2000, it would be 2003. In 2005, about how many softball players were there? Well, I'm going to go up from 2005. And then I'm going to go over from where I hit that line. And it looks like there was about 150 softball players. rabbit population and snow depth. So it looks like we are looking at something that's going down, a scatter plot that's going down. And it says about how many rabbits were there when the snow depth was 27 inches. So this one we're going to have to draw a line of fit. Now when we draw a line of fit, we're just trying to get as close to the points as possible. We don't actually have to go through them all. We just want to get as close to them as possible. Now in 27 inches, if I go up from there, looks like there was about 24 or 25 rabbits. So I'm going to say about 24 or 25. Now it says about how deep was the snow when there were about 30 rabbits per square mile. So I'm going to go over from 30. And I go down. Looks like about 20 inches.